Yeah, that too.
All righty, they're coming on in.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. We're gonna give a little time, let folks join on in. In the meantime, while we're waiting on everyone to join, let's use the chat and just give me a quick shout out, just in regards to who you are, who you're representing. I'll start it off. Hey, it's me, Aretta. I represent D2. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Feel free to turn on your camera. No pressure, but I would love to see the lovely faces that we are communicating with. I appreciate you, Miss Tara. Tara or Tara? Good to see you.
Good
Welcome.
to see you too. Thank you, Tara. Good to see you.
Hey, John Davis. Good to see you. Welcome. Hey, Miss Cindy. Good to see you. Welcome. I see Keith and Tamika. So
Glad to see everybody.
you don't have to, Mr. Dorsey, but we would love to see your beautiful face. But your voice is a blessing. Your voice is a blessing.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So we've got Kimberly Dukes joining. Welcome, welcome. So we welcome, as you all know, I'm Aretta Baldon, D2 board member. And we are going to run this meeting similar to other community meetings where we'll start off where I'll give just some brief updates on what's going on. And then I'm going to stop talking and listen to questions and concerns. We will answer what we can in real time. But some may require for us to go do some research and get you an answer. So I appreciate your patience in advance. So feel free to turn on your camera if you like, but if not, I don't mind speaking to your names. They are such beautiful names. And welcome. So I'm going to run through our updates. These are also typed up. I am not the best in formatting. As y'all know, I was a math major, but I do appreciate the written word. So I do have these updates written down that also have handy dandy links. Keith may be dropping those links in as I go through um as I go through the list. And I think let's see what we have in the chat. So feel free to drop in the chat who you are and who you're representing. Looks like Nisha's got a representative in the house, so appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the updates. So if you guys are not aware, the graduation dates have been set and have been posted. So you can go ahead and start planning for your graduation plans. They are posted on the APS website in that main scroll. Along with graduation, some of our scholars have decided that they want to go to college. Going to college requires you to figure out that estimated family income. And so we are offering free FAFSA help. So FAFSA is the application that students fill out for federal student aid. So on Tuesday, February 27th from 5:30 to 7:30, you can get help filling out that FAFSA. And so that's how you get your federal grants and funding and loans. So if you've got a graduate or you know a graduate, please make sure that they are aware of this opportunity and share that with them. And on the other end of the spectrum, we have pre-K, and the pre-K lottery applications are open. They opened on February 1st, and they'll be open through March 1st. So there will be a lottery, and that lottery will be held on the 15th. So if you know any pre-K children, pre-K eligible children, our lottery is open. It is on a first come, first served basis. And let's see, the lottery will take place on the 15th. And then if there are any additional openings, the application will reopen on March 25th. So that's pre-K lottery application. We are hiring for school nutrition. So those who are not aware, we are bringing nutrition in-house into APS, which means all nutrition staff will be our employees. And we are currently hiring for food assistants and for cafeteria managers. You can check that out online. Hourly wages, I want to say, are between like 17 and all the way up to 35 on the manager side. So if you know someone looking to get into or to continue a career in school nutrition, we do have some openings open, in APS. Our summer program registration has begun. We will have a number of summer program offerings. Note that, again, this is on the website, and it's anything from Xanadu, Power Up, math, bridge programming, fine arts. There is going to be a presentation on that at the March board meeting, but I also believe that there is going to be a fair or something of some sort. Keisha, you want to shout that out right quick, Ms. Copeland?
Yes, thank you. That was perfect timing. And I'll have one of my team members to put it in the chat. So we are offering a summer camp expo experience. We have it annually. It will be February 29th at our instructional service center. Please register ahead of time. We have over 30 vendors. It is a combination of summer enrichment and internships for K through 12. It is for all families. That is the in-person. And then for the virtual, it will be March 7th. So you can also register for that as well. And we'll put that information in the chat. The flyers are everywhere. They're at the schools. They're on the websites, and you'll also receive a robocall and remind for this information. Thank you, Board Member Baldwin.
No problem. Quickly remind us what that lovely instructional service center is.
It is at 433 People Street.
That's
Thank
in
you, Tamika.
D2.
Yes, and it is from 5 to 8 on the 29th of February, and we'll drop the flyers in the chat as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Also want to share our GO teams, which are our school governance teams. The candidate declarations are now open. So in order for you to run for the GO team, I guess you declare that you're interested in running for the GO team. So now is the time to make that declaration. If you do not have a student in the school, you can make a declaration by using a community interest form. So make sure that you check that out. There's a link that we're going to drop in there. But again, GO teams are the school's local governance. So that's who works with the principal in terms of setting budget and all the things that are specific to the local governance of the school. So there are teachers, administrators, parents, community members, all that make up that board, and it is critical for the functioning of the school. So if that is something that you're remotely interested in, now is a good time to look and see what those opportunities could look like for you. School choice. So as you are aware, within APS, we have general administration transfers and special needs scholarships. So we have different ways that you could move around within schools, assuming that the school has space. This is a perfect time for me to plug that Washington High School I believe they have space. They have amazing programs. They have a lot going on. So if you are trying to figure out a space and a place for your child to go, please consider Washington. Also look at Douglas. Douglas has a lot of interesting things going on with the Freshman Academy. We also have KIPP Atlanta Collegiate within D2 and feed into a plethora of schools. But now is the time, but it's going to close. Actually, it's going to close tomorrow. So if you are considering going to a school that is outside the school that you are physically zoned for, then you need to make movements and you need to make them before the day ends tomorrow. Is there anything else to add on that from administration? That sounds like a no. Okay. The other thing in terms of an update, high level update in terms of the superintendent search, we are pacing as the website is showing. If anyone is curious as to what that is, again, if you go to our website, it's full of information. This one specifically is going to be on the board website. So you're going to click for APS, then you're going to look for Board of Education. When you click on Board of Education, you'll see superintendent search. You click there, it'll be a high level timeline of what we're doing when we're doing. Also within that website, you can find all types of interesting things. You can find agendas and presentations from past meetings. If there is an interest, the next meeting, we can do a visual walkthrough of how to navigate the board website and going to Assembly and how you can access all the amazing things that we have available. Before I turn it over to questions, I do want to acknowledge, I believe I saw Councilman Byron Amos on the line. I want to say hello and welcome him. I see DJ who is with Councilman Amos's office. Is there anything in particular that you want to share from the office of Councilman Amos?
No, ma'am, Madam Chair. We're just here to support. But if y'all have any questions, we'll take them, of course.
Okay, I appreciate the support. Okay, so I see we've got a couple of extra people who have joined. Welcome to those who have joined. Keith, I'm going to turn it over to you to allow for questions. We'll go with them as the hands are raised and we will answer them to the best of our ability.
Yes, ma'am. And so good evening, everyone, and welcome to District 2 meeting. We do ask, as many of you have already done, place your hand into the queue. We do ask because of our limited time that we do have allocated 1 hour, that you get directly to your questions or make your comments so that we can make sure that we have enough time to hear from all those who would like to speak and provide comments. And so with that being said, we will go to Cindy first, and then we'll move to Akeem. Good evening, Miss Cindy.
Good evening. Good evening. I have two questions. In light of the recent shootings at Benjamin E. Mays High School, what are we gonna do to ensure the safety of our students? Because now this is becoming an issue. 4 kids were shot yesterday. As you know, in all the districts, there's been the same thing. So what are we gonna do for the security and the safety of the children? I don't know if you want to answer that one first and I ask the second one or what.
Yeah, we'll pause. And I have not necessarily a solution, but I do know some things that are happening, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done. And as the mayor says, this is certainly a group project. It's a situation where things that are happening outside of the school pour into the school and vice versa. Things that happen to the school pour out into the community. One of the things that we are definitely doing is coordinating across all of our police departments. So the Atlanta Police Department, the APS Police Department, as well as the MARTA Police Departments are working in conjunction. One of the things that Councilman Amos and I have requested, and I do believe we're seeing, is earlier on, we were finding that the shifts are changing for the police officers during the time that the kids were transitioning. Once that was made aware, there was intentionality put around having more coverage during those times when the children are transitioning. But there is a lot of work to be done, not just in terms of the adult supervision and presence, but also in terms of our social and emotional skills, and how are we coaching and teaching and handling conflict management. So this is an issue that needs definitely needs some time and input, and I don't have an immediate answer, but I do share your concern.
I agree with the comment that was made, because that was another thing where it's a two-part question for the safety. Are you all going to engage the community with these talks and suggestions and solutions to that?
I believe that there's a definitely there is a place for that. There's definitely a place in terms of the work that we're doing together across the different governing boards, which is the city, the county, and the school board. Is just a matter of us getting all those pieces in place and getting the work done. And your voice demanding it is a help.
Okay, second question. I noticed that next year the bell schedule is going to change. So the kids are going to go to school at 7:45 and they're getting out at 2:15. Why the change? And are you all not concerned about cutting into their learning time? The kids are behind coming back from COVID. So with them losing 30 minutes of teaching time, how is that going to affect the data?
So I'm going to
Again.
answer this from my perspective and my understanding. So the 30 minutes was added to the school schedule as a part of the additional funding that we got for the government. We were using those dollars to fund that additional time. We are running up on the end of the money that supports that time. And so that 30 minutes is being removed. The schedule has been tweaked slightly because I believe operations is making the recommendation that that's going to help them with moving the kids throughout the cluster and getting folks to school on time. And so they re-looked at the schedule and decided that the times and the way that they're staggered are staggered that way for operations, in terms of helping to transition from one grade level to the next and getting folks to school on time.
The data,
In
are you all not concerned about the data?
Definitely concerned about the data, but I think the questions that we're asking now is not necessarily how much time are we spending, but how are we making that time most impactful and most effective.
So I'm clear on the answer. You're taking 30 minutes away because no funds are available to accommodate those 30 minutes.
I don't know the direct answer to that. That is my understanding. So 30 minutes was added to the school schedule as a part of the ESSERS and the CARES funding. And so that was used to help pay for that. I see Dr. Woolfolk on. I don't know if there's something that you want to add. I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but if you can help add some clarification to that, that would be very helpful.
Absolutely. So you are correct. The 30 minutes will come off at the end of the school day. However, the interventions will still take place and occur during the day, somewhat the way we've done interventions for quite a while. They will be built into the daily schedule the way they were previously. So the students will have intervention. It just won't be added on the extra 30 minutes.
But I receive your feedback of your concern. I definitely receive that feedback.
Yeah, because I
Ms.
still don't
Davis.
see how that's gonna help them. They, like I said, the kids are behind due to COVID being taught online. It's been stated in several meetings over the last 2 years since the kids have been back in school, two, because they went back in 2022, that the kids are behind, that they're struggling. And I know that the interventions are still in place, but you're taking 30 minutes away from them. So I don't see how that's gonna help them.
Also, I'd like to add that, and I do hear your concern as well. With our focus now on literacy, it is very much targeted. The staff is already being involved in training from CLL people to teachers now and principals on through Cox campus. And with that, it's more of a differentiated approach, and that with literacy especially, we will be able to hone in using the different types of core assessments and other types of assessments, and really hone in on those literacy gaps. And so I personally feel, because that is one of the ways that we addressed a lot of the gaps with literacy when I was the principal at M. Agnes Jones for 13 years, was using core, using this, they're calling it the science of reading, but really and truthfully, those 5 pillars have been here, and we're now focused on the 5 pillars of reading, which is going, in my opinion, going to get us where we need our students to be.
Oh, okay. We'll revisit it as it come down the pike because I don't see it. All right.
I take that. I promise you I do. I understand. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, thank you, Miss Cindy. We'll move to Akeem and then to Akeisha. Good evening, Akeem.
Good evening, everyone. I have a total of 3 questions and comment. Hey,
I cannot hear you, Mr. Williams, if you're speaking.
oh, can y'all hear me now? My bad.
Yes, I can hear you.
How y'all doing? Good evening, everyone on call. Thank you, Board Member Baldwin, for having this forum tonight, this community meeting. Well, I have a few concerns, total of 3, and follow up. I wanted to update on some issues that we spoke about at the board meeting and general comments. I'll first get started with my general comment. My general comment is I've also given you 2 phone calls, left 1 voicemail, and have not heard back from you. What is your turnaround time going forward for returning your constituents' phone calls? The update that I'm speaking in regards to is going to be regarding KEC and concerns that were laid out at the last board meeting. And then I'll ask the rest of the questions that I have.
So the turnaround time varies. I'm not making any excuses, but a single mother, business owner, elected official, and fully employed. I encourage you, if you do call me, to please leave a message stating your concerns. I did see a missed call, but I did not see a message. I am also available via email. That is, that turnaround could be quicker because of how it allows me to respond in different locations and situations. In regards to the KAC and the issues that were raised there, I do believe that administration spoke directly to the people who brought their issues. So the administration from Atlanta Public Schools, was also made aware that the administration from KIPP Metro Atlanta went and spoke to the families as well. So the families that did raise their concerns have been spoken with.
Yes, can you speak to the resolution around some of those issues? Because we know that some of those issues they were scared
I cannot speak to the resolutions. I cannot speak to those. I don't know them. They were addressed directly to the families.
But you do know the issues directly because that is in your district, but I'm not going to be argumentative.
I'm not being argumentative. I just said I cannot speak to the resolution. That's an answer.
You just choose not to. But my second follow-up to that would be, you said that you're a single mother, you're a board member, and you're also working. That is not an excuse. You're a duly elected official. When you were campaigning around this city and we voted you in, you knew what your responsibilities were. So we need you to be held accountable. If I need to, I'll start calling you every day. You need to, when I call or when anyone calls for that matter, you need to be there. It's funny, you can laugh all day.
I'm not laughing, Akeem.
You are,
thank you.
You're smirking.
I'm smiling. I'm appreciative of
very disrespectful. However you want to look. I mean, you can play the games all day. We're grown as hell.
All right, so
my second question would be, I'm sorry, Keith, I'll keep moving along. I have a second question as well. My second question is going to be regarding the budget meeting that happened earlier today. Where do you stand with APS and Dr. Battle moving more money towards teacher salary? Of course, we understand that the money has to be balanced every year because of the shortage from the state. However, that's not an excuse, or should not be an excuse going forward for our teachers. And we need to essentially do what Dr. Battle said at the last board meeting, which is put the money where your mouth is and make sure we get these policies moving forward. And then my
So the
last concern,
question was, where do I stand on giving teacher raises? Is that the question?
not teacher raises, but actually making sure that they get the most money to their paychecks.
I am in favor of that. I'm also in
Okay.
favor of shifting dollars to the schools.
Okay. And then my last follow up would be around safety and security in light of incidents at Mays High School. You did speak and say that you would be working with APS PD Department, Atlanta Police Department, and MARTA Police Department. However, two of those agencies that you mentioned do not have to report to public as it relates to crime data statistics. So are you going to engage the board or your colleagues into releasing resolutions and or policies as it relates to Atlanta Atlanta Public Schools Police Department, so that data is collected, stored, and also available for public, so that we can make sure we come up with solutions that are data driven from our security mishaps.
Yeah, I'm open to that.
Okay. I look forward to working with you.
Mm-hmm. Was there another question or a comment, or are we moving on to the next question?
It's back in Keith's hands.
All right, thank you, Akeem. So we'll move to Waukesha, then to Michelle. Good evening, Waukesha.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for this meeting. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I just want to go back and say, remember, we had the turnaround strategy, we had COVID, and now we are talking about literacy. I mean, to be fair, the schools have been trying to work on literacy. And interesting enough, we're about to get a new superintendent, so there's no telling what they're going to focus on, right? And so what's interesting is, to the young lady point earlier, time is changing for us, school let out, let in. The money is gone. Wow, we got a lot of money. But when you look at the data of each school, it's not great. It's not great at all. So is money the issue? I'm glad that Byron is on the call, because as we sit here and talk, and we talk every so many months, and we see what we see, and we just got to make better decisions as a community. But what are we doing? Because these fights and shootings and things that's happening inside the school start outside. First of all, I think it would be great if the police department, if they talk to themselves and each other, not just themselves, and they share the data with the community. But we are aware that they are aware of all these different conflicts that's happening. It would be great if the community was aware of what's happening. Everybody's been working in silos, and sadly, we saw what happened at the school, and it could have been worse. And I hope we be preventable and do something different in the future. But back to the community, we have a joint committee. Byron, I know you are on there. I would love to meet with you. So let's set something up, because you're on the council side, and the mayor has focused on the year of the youth and affordable housing, yet our families and our children are still struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing people be displaced, and everybody gonna say, I can't do this. Well, we voted for y'all to work together to do something. And I can tell you right now, Black and brown children are not getting what's due to them, because when you think about COVID and how this money just came down and they had extra time in school, but if you go look at those CCRPI scores, specifically content mastery, to nail it down, Black children, our babies are still behind, and we can tap dance and look cute all day, but that's a real problem. Now, I just seen Keith with the youth right before this shooting. He had the student advisory council together. I think we need to pull some of those kids in that we may label as trouble kids and not the straight A students, so we can get to the bottom of what's really going on. We know what's going on the outside, Byron. Let's talk about that and handle that. But for as school wise, this stuff shouldn't even be happening. And we should be in a way better predicament that we are today. And so we just gonna have to hold y'all accountable because, I know Dr. Battle is coming in just this 1 year, but we had Lisa and we had Kirsten before. Like, we should be further along. We ain't gonna blame COVID. Fairness. We're not gonna continue to blame COVID. Them baby was struggling before. So I hope you guys as board members are really willing to pick someone who's going to come in and do a great job and not be a person that's going to play politics, because then that's going to fall back on y'all and the community is watching. So I just wanted to lift that up in our land.
I appreciate everything that you said, and you definitely said a lot and a lot to be uplifted. One being, it's not always about the money, but what do you do with that money in terms of it being impactful? And I love the idea about tapping into the voices, all voices, not just the voices that tend to be uplifted and pushed forward, but more importantly, the voices that are often silent. We need to seek those voices out and get to work. And I appreciate you raising your hand and always offering your voice. Thank you.
And just to add that before we move to Michelle, the Student Advisory Council has already been working with APSPD to schedule a time for them to start engaging with Chief Apple and the team around this issue. So Waukesha do know that the Student Advisory Council, is at the forefront, ready to work with APSPD and APD. And so do know that is happening very soon.
And I do believe that APS, APD, and MARTA PD meet weekly, but there's definitely a piece missing in terms of, okay, then what do we as a community need to be aware of as a result of that? Pardon?
Aretta, is that open to the public or is that a private?
I don't think that's an open meeting. My guess is some of the things that they're talking about may be sensitive.
Yeah,
but I do know that they connect. There was a rough day at Washington the other week, and Councilmember Amos and I connected. He brought in Major Moman, and Chief Applin and Major Moman had both let me know that they are in constant contact. Of course, there's always times when things in the city may be happening at the same time that may take precedence, but they are definitely in communication. And I guess the missing piece could be, how does the community know about that? Like, how does Cure know about that? How does the At Promise Center know about that? Like, how do the larger than members of the community how does Raising Expectations know that, hey, we need to be on the lookout for X or Y? How do we involve the business community in that? That's taking that to the next level.
Yep. And the last thing I share, I know I keep saying that, but just in reference to that, during Monday's meeting, the APD gang lead investigator said that he speaks to APSPD gang leader like every day, if more than he speaks to Chief Applin. And so I do know they assured us that they are collaborating and working together, sharing information and intel. And so that was shared with us Monday. So I do know that conversation is happening amongst the gang units between the two forces. So
on that point, I think a great thing that somebody could lead the charge on, maybe you, is seeing how we can incorporate the community and those nonprofits and those organizations to see how we can utilize some of the empty spaces or the spaces, nice space that's sitting around, and how we can kind of divert the kids' attention to something else versus being negative towards each other.
Mm-hmm.
Received. I wrote it down. I will bring it up when we meet with them. All right, Michelle. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Michelle Hall, and this is such an important conversation. I just wanted to raise up another issue, and thanks for the time. I'm a APS parent of a autistic and special needs child, and I know we spoke a lot about Tapestry Charter in the past year, and just wanted you to know that we're applying again for the, and charter schools are a big part of District 2, I know, and just for the parents on the call to know that if you know families that have kids that have these needs, there's a great answer in DeKalb County, the Tapestry Charter School. It's been around for 10 years, and they're hosting an information session for all the great EPS staff and board members if you want to learn more on the 28th of February to learn more about it. But we look forward to sharing more at meetings, but just wanted to really ask for you board members' support or consideration of this amazing support for kids with these special needs. And it's, you know, it's a charter that's open to everyone. The one in DeKalb is both half neurodiverse and half neurotypical kids, and it's doing some great things. So thank you so much for letting me raise that up for everyone to know about it.
So the meeting on the 28th is at the facility, or are you hosting it somewhere within inside APS?
Thank you for asking. It's a Google Meet, just so if parents in APS want to just know what this is, know a little bit about it. And then there's tours scheduled throughout the spring for anyone, parents or those interested to come and see what it looks like in DeKalb. It's in Doraville. So if you can't make it to Doraville, you can definitely hear more about it on a Google Meet. And I could drop it in the chat. I didn't know if that was appropriate, but you could just tapestrycharter.org is the website.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Ms. Michelle. We'll move to Sherry and then to Ms. Dukes.
Yes, hey Aretta, and hey everybody. Heroes
Hello,
on the
Sherry.
call.
Hey.
Heroes on the call.
Heroes in the house.
I wanted to speak on like the kids who always get in trouble and targeted. Why don't we try to do something different, and like what Keisha was saying, like rally those kids to be part of a council and give them a mentor and just, you know, just show them the way. And then I wanted to also touch on it's kids that don't finish school or not going anymore. And are we pushing the night school and letting kids know that if you drop out, you could come back and finish? I think that's some of the issues too. People who don't go to certain high school, they're popping up and hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just one of the things we probably need to be pushing in community is inviting the students who drop out back to night school where they could get their diploma.
So one of the things, I know we have a very active campaign right now around our adult school that we're pushing. I don't know if there's anyone in the call from administration that can speak to that program or those offerings, but I know that I have seen a good number of advertisements for the adult school. So that is an opportunity. Sounds like we could do a better job of communicating that opportunity, what it is, who it's available for, and how to get involved. So I received that. In regards to tapping our children that need some additional supports, I want to say thank you to some of the organizations that are on this call today that actually do that. So thank you, Raising Expectations. Thank you, Hey. Thank you, if anyone's on for At Promise. Thank you, Mr. Dorsey, with your mentoring program. So we do have a good number of programs within our schools that do that, but there's more work to be done, right? Because a lot of times it's a situation where you raise your hand versus you come and being recruited. But I do know that there are some organizations, like I said, some that are on this call that are doing that. But I do believe that there is an opportunity to tap into that student voice, and to get some insight into, you know, why is it that you're not engaged? What can we do that could make this a more fulfilling experience?
All right, Sherry, were you done? She was done. Yes. All right, we'll go to Ms. Dukes.
Hey, everybody. Good afternoon, Board Baldon. I want to talk about the safety and the culture and climate. And I heard you guys talk about the kids that get into a lot of trouble or the high flyers. One of those kids is my kid at Washington. And I can honestly say that the people at Washington, Dr. Wolfo, Mr. Wade, like a lot of them have helped me. At Primus, Cure Violence, I'm working with all of those people for my child, and I'm still having issues. And so when you talk about parent trainings and different things, and I heard a lot of you guys say it started in the streets and it going to the schools, I want you guys to understand a lot of it starts in the schools.
Go the other way.
It starts in the schools, it starts in the bathroom, and it come over into the community as well. So it's a two-way street. So I do want to say thank you tonight for just being patient with me and my kid in the Washington cluster, and also thinking about the kids that do have the IEPs, because they are, well, I'm not gonna say they, my child is one of the ones that is very challenging at Washington. And that's why Atlanta Thrive and our team is pushing the special education campaign, because we feel like a little, if our teachers were a little more supported, and if they really understood who the kids are and how their kids work, we can really help each other and work together. And if parents like myself and others would be more open to actually going to get those testing, or going to sit down with the mentors, or talking to different people to talk about what's going on in the kids' life, because what I've noticed a lot of times, we don't think that it's trauma because we have normalized things. And so I encourage parents to like go to the school and share everything. I don't care, Dr. Wolf, y'all know, I tell everybody I share everything when it comes to my baby, because I really want help. And so that's what I encourage the other parents to do as well, because none of us know the answer, but the safety is a thing at all of our schools. Not just Mays, not just Washington, not just Maynard, but we got to work together to make sure that our babies that are at risk are okay. We talk about the special education, and you talk about the kids that are hanging outside of Washington. Yeah, they are coming back. And if you talk to some of those kids, they have been pushed out, or they've been kicked out. And some of those kids are in the IEP space. And so I just want the district to try to reach out to parents and think of other ways to work with parents, to train the parents, because a lot of times y'all think we know what's going on, but we don't know that it's gang stuff, because we don't, we going to work, or they're not bringing it to our house because they're hiding it from us. And so a lot of times it's the perception that the parent is not present, or the parent don't know what's going on, or she know what's going on and don't care. That's not always the case. The parents need to be educated as well. And so I've been coming to you guys for years saying parent education, parent education, parent education. And it's not so much, it's just parent education. We got to learn together, because none of us know what's going on. And we cannot continue to do it in silos. When we talk about the APS police department, I am frustrated with that police department. And the reason why I'm frustrated with it, because we got to get some processes in order so that we're making sure that it's not just the conversation that Chief Applin is having with, I'm not sure the other guy's name, and it's just staying amongst them. Like, we have to have a conversation with the community, because they don't know everything that's going on. A lot of the stuff that went on with my baby, y'all wouldn't know if I never came and told you guys, right? The other thing is, a lot of our kids, and Waukesha said it, a lot of our kids are getting kicked out of school. They're not going to the Hank Aaron, or they're not having an MDR or the tribunal. Like, that's not happening, but they are making it to the juvenile justice system. And so that's the piece I don't understand. How is the ticket making it to the APS police department, but you wasn't, to the court, the juvenile justice system, but you're not able to communicate with a parent? So I want y'all to think about what that looks like. And I've talked to a couple of board members and other people. And I'll bring it to you guys' attention. Byron Amos, you on the call. Y'all know what Atlanta is, and y'all know what's going on in Atlanta. So I'm just gonna say it. I myself went through it. I work with parents that go through it. When our kids are arrested, or when our kids are having these tickets, when they are bringing them home after 9 o'clock, and we're getting these tickets, it goes to the rental office. If you are tax credited, if you are low income, if you are on Section 8, they are running those weekly records, and our parents are being unhoused. And so that's another issue that come back to the school, because that's another problem that we have to deal with. And so when you see kids like Cecilia that is coming in battling that, that's why they battling it, because we're worried every day. And then when we get to the doorstep of your school, we have to be harassed, with the social workers, and it's unpleasant, with the staff. And so I just want you guys to think about processes. because we want to be the bridge. And tonight I'm on the call as Kim Dukes, the mother with children in the Washington cluster. My team will always have my back as Atlanta Thrive, but y'all got to think about these kids. And it's not about controlling them. It's about coaching and guiding them and listening. And I think the district can do more of that, especially in this Washington cluster. Thank y'all.
And I would definitely like to talk to you more about that, just in understanding just processes in general, and helping to understand, where those holes are. And I would look to administration in terms of who needs to be in that conversation so we can learn and then apply those learnings forward.
I would like to be a part of that too. I told Ms. Dukes last week I would like to learn more about the court system piece. Some of the things that she talks about, I would like to be made more aware of as well. It may not be something that's a part of my everyday like associate suit work, but if I have that context and that working knowledge, that I can provide support.
Exactly.
And Aretta and Dr. Woodford, I want to let you guys know the same thing that we tell our parents. I am the parents that I serve. And so when we're learning to navigate the school system, it's hard. We have to go into the like deal with our housing. So that's another system we operate in. Correct. And then it's the juvenile justice system. And so we use this same stuff in every place, and all of the systems are failing us and our children, and they're not connected. And so we have the resources. Yes, the mayor said it's the year to youth. We've been saying it a long time. But our kids are out here hurting, and I'm at every cure violence. I done talked to what's his name? Everything that you guys offer, Chris 180, everything that you guys offer, I'm there and I'm present, and I still cannot figure out what is it, you understand, or the right educational setting for my son.
And and understanding that connection that you mentioned to housing is critical, especially within this district where we're seeing, I know Douglas's mobility rate was around 49% this last year. 49%, like almost half of the students in the school did not finish in the school that they started in. And that is directly impacting outcomes too. So there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done here, and I believe a lot of knowledge that you can share. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Duke. So we'll go back. What's time? So what we got time? So we got Waukesha, then we'll move to John, and then to Dorothy.
So I just wanted to say real quick, Kim is absolutely right. I had one of those students as well, but he is successfully graduate thanks to the previous leadership at Washington High School. But I want to let parents and the community know, and board member, I would love for you to share this when you go out into the community as well. This is budget season for each schools. All of our schools are completely different. Yet most of the time we get the same kids because they're not over here. They end up going down now because they're chasing rent. And I think it's important that we, the families, understand what our principal is buying for the school population, and if it's really going to truly serve our babies. So I would just encourage all of us. It's about to wrap up, but please visit those budgets and see what is being bought and what is being removed, because that's critical to the everyday success of our children. Thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to John and then to Dorothy. I think you're still on mute, John. All right, we'll move to Dorothy. Or did she?
Hi.
Are you okay?
Yes. I have a son. He's on the spectrum. He does have an IEP and a BIP. I think one of the problems that I have faced with APS is it seems to me they don't want parents to be engaged in their children's education. The only time that I'm notified about anything is that when is there a problem. My son has been restrained several times. I have never received any report or any incident. I have to get it from my son. He's going to 6 different schools, even though we're being at the same address. And it seems that APS does not take that in accountability for moving these kids and expecting them to adapt so quickly and not having any behavior issues. And anytime I try to address APS about issues with my son's IEP or his behavior plan or anything, they already refer me back to the teacher, who is the case manager, and I never get any answers. We have parents who want to be involved in their children's education. We want our children to succeed in school, but it's APS teachers and administration makes it hard for parents.
I'm sorry that that has been your experience. I'm going to ask that somebody on this call from the administration reach out to Ms. Woods directly to talk to her about her experience and how we can help her. Do know that I serve on the audit committee, and we are in the process. Special education has been identified by the audit committee to be to go through an audit, and we are in the process now of figuring out what is the scope of that audit in terms of what it is that that we should be looking at so we can improve our services. So I believe Travis has reached out and asked for your information. I believe Atlanta Thrive also wants your direct information because one of the things that they're talking about right now and challenging us to do is around the special education and our special education services. I also know that that is something that has been raised by not just myself, but a good number of my colleagues in terms of the services, parent education, and just the services as a whole. So thank you for raising that. And hopefully we can get you some direct assistance very soon.
All right, thank you. So the time is 6:51. We do have 9 minutes left. And so our last two will be Cindy and John, and then we will let Board Member Baldon close us out. Cindy, back to you.
I agree with everything that everybody said about the special education department. I think that that needs to be relooked at and revamped because number one, it's now taking too long to get the kids an IEP. It's taking too long to assess the kids and finalize the IEP. Once the children get the IEP, then nobody wants to follow the IEP. And I agree with all of the parents. We need to be more involved. When you go to the school to check on your child, it used to be when my other kids was in school, you could just go and just look in the classroom. I'm not saying disrupt, but let us look in and see what's going on and stuff. I'm like them. A lot of stuff happens at this school that teachers do not report, and that's not fair. Then when it becomes real serious, now you want to call. You want me to come to the school, nip it in the bud in the beginning. Then we won't have this problem. But this whole special education system, in my opinion, needs to be revamped. Because I'm with everybody else. I am so displeased with it at this point. The whole system is just not right. It's just not right.
It's just not right. That's true. That is so true.
And the kids are falling through the crack with the system because you're putting them out, you're suspending them. And what happens? And I thought that when kids had an IEP, you couldn't suspend them for more than 10 days. But I know kids that are being suspended more than 10 days and they have an IEP, they have a bill. They even have 504s and they're being suspended. That's not fair.
Agreed.
All right. Thank you, Miss Cindy. All right, we'll move to our last speaker, which is John.
Hey, Keith, I think it's somebody from our team and they're signed in with my Zoom. So
whoever that is signing in under John Davis. I don't know if it's Jasmine or
I thought it might
Lauren.
have been Nisha. There was a note that Nisha was taking notes through your thing.
I'm asking them to unmute, so I'm clicking the thing to ask them to unmute if they. All right. Well, John, if you could.
Yeah, I'll touch bases with it.
Okay. All right. So.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey Keith, I'm
Hey,
sorry.
we can hear you. Okay.
Technical difficulties. I just really the parents took it out my mouth. Piggybacking off them, I have 2 new parents that I just met, and special education again, IEPs. They're not being communicated with the school, the teachers, and their kids are coming back saying they're being bullied. It's real lack of communication. It's simple. And all these behavior problems can be avoided, like she said earlier, if we go ahead and child find, recognize the problem and get it situated at that moment. Stop waiting 2 and 3 years fighting against it. I don't know what's wrong with the special education department, but there's a lot of pushback, and it needs to change. These kids are suffering. Thank you.
Thank you for your advocacy and for your feedback.
All right, Board Member Baldon, the floor is back over to you to close us out.
Well, thank you all for coming with your open minds, your ideas, your feedback. Know that you do not have to wait until one of these meetings. You can send an email. You can leave a voicemail. I ask that you definitely leave a voicemail if you call, and as well as if you can give me some insight when you're sending me an email. So as if it's something that I need to research, I can research it before getting back to you, and then we can make our time together most productive. Again, we are on track for the superintendent search. Do know that I'm certainly looking to match that leadership profile that we developed with the community. And I'm excited. So thank you all for your time and your commitment, and have a wonderful evening. Oh, and thank you again to Councilman Amos and your office for coming. And I don't think there were any other board members on the call. If there were, welcome and thank you for coming. Thank you to admin for joining and extending your day for us today. We appreciate you. Y'all have a good evening.
All right, your exit ticket is a wave.
Have a good one.
You too.